Hello, this is Mr. Junior here, and I thank you to anyone who watched my previous video and will continue to watch my next videos for however long I choose to make these. I am finding this to be a really great outlet, especially for my love for this game, and I hope you'll continue to watch. This will be my second video on the subject of Gran Turismo Sport. This one will hopefully have a lot better production value considering that this one won't be just one take, and it will include a lot more stuff than the other one did. Last time I talked about why I love Gran Turismo Sport and why I would consider it to be a necessity for any sim racer who is starting or who needs to get back to basics and is a veteran. This time around, I will be talking about features that Polyphony Digital could and should implement to GT Sport within the next 1 or 2 years. These are all features that could be easily implemented with programming for Polyphony Digital. These don't include things like extra brand new DLC, things that we've never seen before, or even things that are implemented in other games that would be nearly impossible. I'm not trying to ask them to change the fundamentals of their game at all. They already did that once, and I'm very proud of them for doing so because it was a community-suggested thing. So from my own experience and from browsing forums online such as GT Planet and the Gran Turismo Wikia, I have found some features that I would love to implement into Gran Turismo Sport. The first of this is having to do with virtual reality. Now, Polyphony Digital promised for many months, and even for the year prior to the release of Gran Turismo Sport, that this was going to be a fully fledged VR compatible game. Now, they technically did not lie. There is VR compatibility in the form of one mode in the game. There is no other place in the game that virtual reality can be accessed currently, so that is the majority of these, if not just over half. Now, the first definite feature that would be great to implement are 360-degree scapes. This is not only for people who love to take photos, but also love to be in a place in virtual reality. This would take advantage of that with PlayStation VR, and Gran Turismo Sport could be essentially 2 games in one. First part is a racing game, and the second part is a virtual reality destination experience. Next up is VR replays. Now, I got this idea from Drive Club VR, where in the replay you can actually take the place of the passenger of your car if it has a passenger seat, and you can watch yourself drive the track, and it's a really cool option, and it's very eerie seeing yourself drive somewhat erratically as if you were the passenger. Now, Gran Turismo Sport would be a lot better with this because of course, Polyphony Digital would polish it out to the nth degree like they always do. But I think that this would be a mode that would be pretty simple to implement and wouldn't take too much effort. Plus, it would have a very high rate of return for replayability, pardon the pun, as well as giving users just an extra layer to enjoy for the game and what it can do. Now here is something that I've been wanting since the very beginning of the game whenever it came out. October 17th and October 18th, whenever it first came to us, I was very disappointed in the lack of a virtual garage for these cars. I would love to see my entire collection all in one place in either a warehouse-style garage or a cylindrical central elevator type garage like in GTA Online. I don't really care. It would be amazing to see every single vehicle. It would also be very simple to implement considering that you only have to render about 3 floors or a little bit away. You could add something like different rooms that would be available. And the reason why this is in the VR category is because imagine walking around your garage and looking at your cars in virtual reality. This would be so amazing, and I salivate just thinking about the possibilities that this could offer. Now, a quick deviation from that point, but moving on to a similar point. There is the home in Gran Turismo Sport. It's the place where the game cinematically presents your car to you, and it's all amazing looking, and it's in one of three places. It is either in a upscale garage slash business conference room area. It's open air, really cool looking, or it's in a racing garage, a pit garage. And then there's the other third option that I don't use as much because it's a little darker, but it is still awesome nonetheless, and that is the bar type man cave garage. And I personally love the open air office the best. Now, I would love, absolutely love, to be able to walk around VR and non-VR in that space and look at my car. There is very little that you can do in Gran Turismo Sport in terms of looking at your car freely, where you can see every single angle and every single little detail that you've added. It's very hard to. The only way you can do that currently is through the walk mode in the replay section in the pictures area, and it's just very hard to get to. I'll be getting to this later, but there is something similar to this point that I'll be bringing up in a later video about looking at your car and the benefits of doing so, and also ways that you can implement doing that. One amazing feature of Gran Turismo Sport is the areas that you race in, especially Tokyo. For some reason, that's just really cool to me. I love how detailed it is and how much effort has been put into making this scene. Now, there is a way that you can appreciate this, and it's, like I said, hidden in the replay options in the walk mode, where you can actually, and I've tried this, walk around the entire track. It's not like Project Cars or Assetto Corsa, where you have a defined space that you have to be in order to take the picture. You don't even need to be inside of the car to walk around the area. Now, this is probably just an afterthought, glitch, exploit, whatever you want to call it, but I think it could be a really awesome mode. So for VR, even non-VR, you have an option to go to a track and put yourself there, and then look at the surrounding area. You can look at the scenery, and you can look at anything you want to. This will tie in to another feature that I would like mentioned in another video, because this one is all about VR. The last thing I want to talk about that's not exactly VR specifically, but it is something that would be enhanced with VR, and that is convertibles in the game being able to convert what they're supposed to do. Even if it's not during a race where your car can change from a covered top into a slash top, but it could be an option in the game where you, in the menu, whenever you're choosing the race, that you say, hey, I want my MX-5 to have the top on, or I don't want it to have the top on, because that's just an extra level of detail that could be very much so appreciated by first-person view and VR, because, frankly, who doesn't want to be driving a 1969 Mustang at Deep Forest Raceway in VR in the middle of the afternoon? It's just something that would be iconic, not only iconic, but ideal. I think that that's probably the main goal, is that scenario, being able to drive a converted Mustang at an iconic track in the middle of the forest in a great area, and being able to look at the sunset and the time progression with your VR setup and wheel and pedals, and being able to be as immersed in the game as you possibly can be. So, for me, VR and this game that's what I'm going for. Now, I think that Polyphony Digital, whenever they promised full VR support for this game, they meant it. They want every piece of VR in this game that they can, and I'm sure Sony wants it as well because it's really good marketing. Drive Club and Drive Club VR, Sony got rid of the developers for that game, and the Drive Club VR is just kind of an afterthought. There aren't really a whole lot of VR games, especially driving games, that include VR with Sony's platform. Now, Project Cars and Project Cars 2, I know that on the PC version they support the Vive and Oculus, and on Assetto Corsa it didn't at first, but it now does support VR. So it's not a huge stretch that driving games could be the driving force for VR and PlayStation VR with Sony's console and its platform. Because so far there have been 2 million plus PSVRs sold, and that's incredible. That's more than the Vive and the Oculus combined, and that brings it to the mainstream. But there needs to be more games, and Gran Turismo Sport being the absolute juggernaut for Sony. There is no game really that compares to GT Sport as to whenever it arrives. It doesn't arrive immediately, nor does it arrive at launch every time, but whenever it does come to the scene, everyone else steps to the side. Gran Turismo and their games are the big dogs. They're the ones that sell the console. Uncharted 4 is pretty good. It probably sells more units than Gran Turismo does, but whenever Gran Turismo comes on the scene, it's time for everyone else to put their toys away, because Kazunori Yamauchi and his passion project are coming to the PlayStation platform, and they are coming to take names. So having all of those Gran Turismo Sport players be introduced to VR and full VR support would just be incredible, and I think it would be a great opportunity for Sony. So all these VR capable things that they can do in the game, I think that they'll do it. It'll just take them about a year or so, because developing for VR is quite hard to do, considering that you're doing it in a 360-degree environment where it's not just one screen looking at one space at a certain time. You're looking everywhere. But that'll do it for me for today. I thank you very much for watching this video all the way through, the 14 minutes that it's been, and I really hope that you come back for the next video, because next time I'll be talking about aesthetics for Gran Turismo Sport and the features that could be added then. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, and have a great day.